all these years, a certain lovely one appears. I never heard love call, I never thought I'd fall, but I'm human after all. There's nothing could be sweeter nor completer than a real platonic friendship. When it's strictly mental, there's a gentle note of philharmonic blendship. Being intellectual is effectual, and it's always good protection. But now my world's chaotic, 'cause you've got exactly what I'd call perfection.
Not a bad voice. What's her name?
Gloria Dobson.
Gloria Dobson. Never heard of her. Tell her to come back when she gets a reputation.
And in my southern drawl, I want to tell you all, it's terrific after all these years. And after all these tears, a bit of sunshine interferes. I've lost
Louis.
my wherewithal, the kick of alcohol.
Can't use her. Nice voice, but nobody ever heard of her.
I'm just an ordinary fool with an old-fashioned rule. Believe in every guy and his brother. And if you say you care, I'll swear then and there. It's in one heart and out the other. I need some volunteers. Can anybody spare 3 cheers? I never heard love call, I never thought I'd fall, but I'm human after all these lonely,
Mr. Blakely,
Yes,
did you like my song?
very much. You have a nice voice. You're pretty, you have a figure, good appearance, and you know how to put over a song.
Oh, thank you. Then do I get the job?
Sorry, I can't use you.
But why?
No name.
Oh. What does Gloria Dobson sound like to you?
Your name?
That's what I thought. But I found out differently. I have no name. 4 nightclub managers told me so.
Only 4. You just wait until you really get going around. Say, do you think this dress does anything for me?
Oh, definitely. And I'm not going any rounds. I'm going back to Vermont.
Well, you've only been here 2 days. Your rent's paid up until Say, you don't expect me to refund your money, do you, dearie?
No, I don't. But I know when I've had enough. If you needn't send my trunk on, I'll take it with me. At least I won't have to repack that.
Oh, it didn't come. Only the crate.
Crate?
Yeah, I had to put in your closet.
What crate? This is mine. There must be some mistake.
Well, maybe the owner of that got your trunk.
Mr. James Manning, 3rd, 322 East 63rd Street, New York. 322 East 63rd? This is 322 West 63rd.
It looks like the trucking company made the mistake.
Well, this James Manning, 3rd, whoever he is, must have my trunk. And I have to go and get it. Oh, how I love New York. Wait for me. I'll only be a minute.
Oh, Miss Dobson. Oh, you can't come in now. Mr. Manning has visitors.
How did you know my name?
Well, I'll explain later, but you'll have to come back tomorrow.
I came here to get my trunk, and I'm not leaving until I do.
Please, not so loud.
Well, then let me in.
Oh, very well. Oh, please, not in there. Follow me. If you wait a minute, I'll tell Mr. Manning.
This is a little recipe I picked up in Zanzibar. I got it from a cannibal. It's called a Zanzibar says about what?
You merely place the lower lip behind the upper teeth, and you have it.
I'm sure Mr. and Mrs. Marvin and Luella aren't interested in your concoctions, James. I think your curio collection will be much more interesting.
Yes. We've heard so much about it. Haven't we, Luella, dear?
Oh, so much, Mother.
What's the matter with Michael? Why is he waving his hand?
Oh, he always does that around this time every day. It's the only exercise he gets. Did you want to see me, Mike?
Please, sir.
Will you excuse me for a moment?
What's the matter, James?
There's a little leak in something. The plumber wants to see me.
It's the bird bath, madam.
Well, how do you do?
What is the meaning of this?
I'm very sorry, sir, but...
Oh, that's all right, Michael. What's like this, Miss Dobson? Your trunk was delivered here by mistake, and...
I know that, but why? Why have you got everything
Well,
all...
I thought it was a trophy the master had sent on to Philadelphia, so I opened it.
What with? Dynamite?
It wasn't Michael's fault. You see, I collect curios from all over the world.
Since when is my picture a curio?
Oh, the picture? Yes, it doesn't flatter you a bit, you know. You see...
To my dear Jimmy, always your Gloria. Who wrote that?
I did. Now, wait a minute. Don't get excited if you'll just give me a chance to explain.
I am not interested in your explanations. You had no right to do this to me. Look at my slip and my negligee and
You
my...
don't have to make such a row about it.
What am I supposed to do? Think it's funny? I could have you a...
Now, will you listen to me quietly while I explain everything? There's some people in the next room, and I don't want them to hear this. Well, what do you say?
I beg pardon, sir. She can't possibly answer you with your hand over her mouth.
Oh!
Possibly another addition to his collection.
Now, you listen. My Aunt Matilda's in the next room with Mr. and Mrs. Marvin and their precious daughter, Luella. My aunt did me the honor of proposing to Luella while I was away. Luella accepted. But I don't want to marry Luella. In fact, I don't want to marry anyone. So I distributed your clothes around my bedroom. When they come in here and are sufficiently shocked, I'll confess that I'm secretly married. Then Luella will break our engagement. Now, do you understand? Good. Oh! I didn't want to do this, but I guess I'll have to. Get the cord out of my bathrobe and tie your hands and feet.
Very well, sir.
Hurry up, Michael.
I'm hurrying, sir.
Oh, that's my favorite foot. Hurry up, Michael. Oh. Hang on. Hang on, I'll get a piece.
Sharpy little bird, isn't it?
I can handle her now, Michael. Go in my bathroom, patch up your face, and then fix up the bedroom.
Oh, thank you, sir.
I hate to do this to you, but you see, marriage with Luella has all the... I knew you'd understand. Just make yourself uncomfortable.
Yes, James is untiring in his efforts to collect unusual things.
Oh, I'm terribly sorry. Where were we? Oh, yes,
But James, what was all that noise about?
The plumber dropped a hammer on his foot.
Screamed like a woman?
Yes, he's a tenor, a sensitive fellow.
Michael,
Yes, madam?
well, what happened to your eye?
Don't tell me that the plumber dropped his hammer on that.
Yes, I'm...
And his face is scratched.
It was the claw hammer. I had a wonderful stroke of luck in New Orleans. I picked up a genuine African new.
What was an African new doing in New Orleans?
He came for the Mardi Gras.
Oh,
I've always wanted to see an African new. I understand they're quite rare.
Oh, yes, very. It hasn't arrived yet. Still, I have some other things I'd like very much for you to see. Shall we?
Now, there is one thing I want you to see. It's a mask from Tibet. They say it's a thousand...
Now, this is a genuine Cellini. I found it in a little antique shop. Yes, Aunt Matilda?
Aren't you going a little too far with your collection?
Oh, it's nothing. Just a little thing I picked up.
What was in it when you picked it up?
Young man, the Marvins can't afford a scandal.
Neither can the Mannings.
Aunt Matilda, I didn't mean to tell you this yet, but, well, I'm secretly married.
Married?
Yes, so I can't marry Luella now.
How could you do such a thing to Luella? You've broken the poor girl's heart.
I'm terribly sorry. I had no idea Luella would take it so hard.
Who's in that closet?
The plumber again?
It did sound like him, didn't it?
Oh, how nice. I didn't know we had guests.
What a charming plumber.
Who is this woman?
This woman?
Oh, if there's anything I can't bear, it's to be referred to as this woman. I should think it's perfectly obvious. I'm Mrs. James Manning.
Mrs. James Manning. Mrs. James... Of course. My wife, the one I was telling you about.
Have you more than one?
Oh, no, just the one.
If she's your wife, why is she hiding in the closet?
Oh, she wasn't hiding, Aunt Matilda. She has a complex, the opposite of claustrophobia. Hates wide open spaces. Loves to be cooped up, you know.
That's right. We met in the telephone booth.
Come, Desmond. And you too, Luella.
I bet you didn't pick her up in any antique shop.
Darling, this is my Aunt Matilda.
How do you do? Well, I'm glad you're so happy to have made my acquaintance. And now I'm afraid I've been out long enough. I really must get back in the closet. Are you coming, dear?
Oh, no, darling, you go right in. I'll join you later.
How did you ever happen to marry that closet dweller?
Well, you see, Aunt Matilda, after traveling all around the world, I wanted the kind of a girl who stays put. That's one thing about Gloria. I always know where to find her. They're gone. Oh, you were great. If you ever need a favor, you can count on me.
Please, can I have my trunk now?
You certainly can, lady. I'll even help you pack it. Well, here's your picture.
Oh, thanks.
Oh, congratulations, dearie. To be my own sister, I couldn't felt happier. Because when I first laid eyes on you, I knew you had class. And I says, now be nice to that girl, I says, because she's your kind.
What the world are you talking about?
Why, your marriage.
The feminine world lost its most sought-after bachelor when news leaked out that he was secretly married to the unknown girl whose picture appears on this page.
How did you work it, girlie? All the local debutantes been running after Jimmy Manning for years.
But it's not true. I'm not married to him.
Huh? You ain't? And how did all this get in the paper?
I don't know. Oh, how am I going to go home and explain this to my fiancé?
Wait a minute, girlie. Wait. With publicity like that, you don't need to explain nothing to nobody.
What do you mean?
Use your head. Those same nightclub managers that turned you down, why, they'll be falling all over themselves to get to you. Now you've got a name.
That's right. Mrs. James Manning, the third.
Take your place in the sun. There's some work to be done. Don't you be a stick in the mud. Just nip Mr. Gloom in the bud. Come on and take your place in the sun. Why not try it for fun? Give the blues the chase. Do a right about face and take your place in the sun. By all these presents, there's no fun looking for strife and sorrow. No, you should be pleasant. It's the time of your life to have the time of your life. Take your place in the sun. Get your care on the run. Join the crowds and sing like a thrush. Face the clouds and give them the
on and bake your place in the sun. Smile, you son of a gun. Pick your favorite dream and come in on the beam.
And take your place in it.
Take your place in it.
Take your place in the sun.
Take your place in the sun.
Was that tempo all right, Mrs. Manning?
Oh, that was fine. Do you mind trying the other one again?
Sure. Let's try the other one, boys.
Well, what are you doing here?
I want to talk to you.
Excuse me.
Sure. Where can we go?
This place is as good as any.
Okay. Well, I'll skip the details and get right down to business. How much do you want?
I don't want anything.
You don't want anything? Well, then what's the idea of plastering my name all over the city with a cheap publicity stunt like this?
It's not a publicity stunt. And furthermore, what was your idea in giving those stories to the newspapers?
Oh, that wasn't any of my doing. Marvin started to talk, and some reporter stole your photograph from my apartment, which wouldn't have happened if you hadn't forgotten to pack it. Besides, I didn't know you were a nightclub entertainer.
I wasn't a nightclub entertainer until you made me Mrs. James Manning. I couldn't even get a job before because I had no name value, but I've got it now.
Well, no wife of mine is going to sing in a nightclub, and that's final.
No wife of yours. If you're my husband, I ought to sue you for non-support.
Now, listen. I'm sorry. Let's be sensible about this and stop shouting at each other. We can't live a lie like this. We've got to get out of it somehow.
I'll say we do. I would go home as I'd planned, but I can't even face my fiancé after those stories.
Yeah. I see your point.
Gloria!
Father!
Well, how are you, baby? So you ran away and got married without telling your old dad, huh? Well, I forgive you. I was young once myself.
Yeah, but you see, Dad, I didn't...
Oh, so this is the lucky man, huh?
I'm glad you're here, sir.
Well, that's mighty fine of you. Very few young men would welcome their father-in-law's barging in at a time like this.
Well, that's just the point,
Well,
see?
Jimmy's trying to tell you, Dad.
Yeah, but you don't realize what this little girl means to me. That's why I came on to see for myself that she wasn't making any mistake.
Oh, she hasn't, but you see, I...
Well, you can bet your life you're not making one. You've got the finest little girl that ever came out of the state of Vermont. Now, just treat her right and be good to her, because if you don't...
You tell him.
Tell him what?
Nothing, except that we're just so happy that we don't know what to say. This is my father.
So I gather. How do you do, Mr. Dobson?
Dr. Dobson.
Oh, well, it's nice to have a doctor in the family. I feel a little ill right now.
Why, nonsense, son. You're the very picture of health.
How did you happen to find us?
Why, I went over to your apartment and left my bags. The butler told me you were over here.
The butler?
Yes, a fellow named Michael.
Michael? You left your bags in my apartment?
Why, certainly. Where else you expect me to go?
You mean you're stopping with me? With us?
No, don't worry, son. I'm not going to get in your way. I was a newlywed once myself.
I am ill.
Why, maybe it's the heat. Well, it's a lucky thing I'm here. Gloria, get me some water. We'll fix him up in a jiffy.
Oh, Father, do you think you should?
Never mind now. In just about a minute, he'll be as frisky as a 2-year-old colt.
A colt? Are you sure you're a doctor?
Why, son, am I sure? I've treated some of the finest horses in the state of Vermont.
Horses?
Yep, and never got a complaint from a single one of them.
Where's my father?
Unpacking. From the looks of things, he's digging in for the winter.
If you don't like it, all you have to do is tell him we're not married.
Shh, don't shout that around here. Do you want him to fill me full of buckshot?
Don't think he wouldn't.
I'd rather not think about it at all.
At least he's a man of action. If he found himself in a situation like this, he'd think of something to do.
Yeah. And when my Aunt Matilda finds that my father-in-law's a horse doctor, she'll think of plenty to do.
But you can't shave me. See, you're a guest.
I can't, huh? Well, I shave all of my friends back in Vermont. It's my hobby.
But it just isn't being done, sir.
Well, I'm doing it, Ada. I never saw it to fail. You try to help a fella and he kicks. People are just like horses, except horses have got more sense. Now you sit down. I'll answer the door.
No, sir. Please, sir. I must do that myself.
Good evening, Michael. Good heavens!
I'm sorry, Miss Matilda. Most unusual circumstances. Will you please go in?
Then why are you so afraid of her?
Ask any small boy who's being raised by a maiden aunt.
Well, you're not a small boy now. Why don't you stand on your own feet?
You don't know her. She's a terrible old crab.
Good evening, James.
Oh, Aunt Matilda. I was just telling Gloria about an old crab I picked up in the Everglades. It's a rare specimen of crustacean antediluvian. It's, you know Gloria?
Yes. Won't you sit down? Just make yourself right at home.
Yes, please do. Aunt Matilda, Gloria's given up the idea of singing in that nightclub.
I should think so. We can't allow the name of Manning to be dragged through the mire any more than it has been.
Getting mighty hungry. When do we tie on the feed bag? Oh, company. Well, the more the merrier. I like to have a lot of people around the table. That is, if there's plenty of food.
This is Gloria's father, Dr. Dobson. This is my aunt, Miss Manning.
How do you do?
Dr. Dobson?
That's right. Well, you were going to stay for dinner, of course.
Well, yes, I expected to.
Fine. Oh, Mike, just push that chuck wagon over for my daughter. She's a lady of the house now.
Why, yes, Michael, of course. I'm surprised at you.
Very well, sir.
Go ahead and serve, baby.
Where is Mrs. Dobson?
Oh, I lost her when Gloria was just a little tot.
Oh.
So Gloria's all I've got left. Means a lot to me to see her so happily married. Say, do you like syrup?
Yes.
I'll send you some the minute I get back to Vermont.
Thank you, Dr. Dobson. Oh, are you a specialist?
Sure, I specialize in everything.
How interesting. Perhaps you can help me.
Well, now, just what are your symptoms?
Aunt Matilda, Dr. Dobson's here on a vacation.
Jimmy's right, Dad. Don't talk shop.
Nonsense. I've consulted dozens of physicians, and not one of them has been able to diagnose my case. Now, maybe Dr. Dobson is just the man I'm looking for.
What ails you? Let me see your teeth. Teeth in good shape.
How unusual. Well, now, when I can't explain this.
That's perfectly all right. You can speak freely to me.
Well, when I get up in the morning, I wheeze.
Aunt Matilda, you know perfectly well it's your asthma.
You know what'd be good for you? Get up early in the mornings and trot around the park.
Trot around the park? How far?
Oh, about a mile and 1/16. Take it kind of easy the first few times and get somebody to clock you.
Clock me?
Yep. And be sure to get plenty of fresh air and green feed.
Trot round the park, clock me, fresh air, green feed. James, this man is a horse doctor.
Now, ain't that near to you? And I've yet to see a human being that wouldn't be a whole lot healthier if they lived like a horse.
Oh, I've never been so insulted in all my life.
Aunt Matilda, if you'll just wait a minute, I can explain everything.
Hear from me later.
I'll hear from her later.
Well, why'd she get on such a high horse?
Oh, Father.
Did I say something wrong?
One less for dinner, madam?
Obviously.
Yes. Yes, madam. Will there be anything else, sir?
You may go, Michael.
Thank you. Good night, sir.
Goodbye.
Don't you think it's time we getting a little sleep?
Oh, well, I want to finish this story first.
And I'd like to finish this book, but don't let us keep you up. You go right on to bed.
Well, for newlyweds, you're about the most distant couple I ever saw.
I think you're right, Pop. I do feel a little sleepy. Come on, darling. You've read enough for one evening. You'll ruin your lovely eyes.
Well, that sounds better. Good night, daughter. Good night, son.
Good night, Pop.
Oh. Good night, Father.
Good night, daughter.
That was a nice little act you put on out there.
Yes, wasn't it?
If you think you're going to stay here tonight, you're crazy.
If you think I want to stay here tonight, you're crazy.
What are you going to do?
Sneak out and go to a hotel?
Oh, and then what am I going to tell Father in the morning when he discovers you're not here?
I'll sneak back in again before he gets up.
Good night, Mr. Manning.
Good night, my happy little bride. I hope you enjoy your honeymoon.
Good morning, Mike.
Morning, sir.
Fine morning.
Yes.
10:30. You know, I never sleep that late back home. The lovebirds up yet?
Lovebird, sir? Not yet, sir.
Well, I'm not going to wait for them. I'm hungry. Breakfast ready?
Yes, sir.
Fine. Oh, ham and eggs. Smells fine. Had your breakfast?
No, sir.
Well, sit down and eat some of this.
Oh, no, thank you, sir.
Aren't you hungry?
Yes, sir, but I can't eat with you, sir.
Oh, I'm not good enough for you. Well, you're a snob. Just because you wear that long-tailed coat, you think you're better than common people.
No, sir, you misunderstand me.
Oh, I do, huh? Well, listen to me. Back in Vermont, we had a hired man that ate at our table for 20 years. We were good enough for him. Now, no stiff-shirt butler's going to lord it over me. You sit down there and have some food.
Yes, sir.
What's so funny?
I'm laughing, but I'm not happy, sir.
You don't have to scare a man to death.
Well, at least you could do is knock when you come into a lady's bedroom.
I didn't want your father to hear me.
Yes?
Gloria, anything wrong?
Oh, just a minute, Dad. He mustn't know you've been out all night. Pretend you're taking a shower.
Okay.
Anything wrong?
No,
Where's Jimmy?
taking a shower.
Well, what made you scream?
Oh, mice in the closet.
Oh, you had me worried there. Jimmy?
Yeah, Pop? Good morning, Pop. I'd like a good cold shower to pep you up in the morning.
Well, you'd enjoy it more if you turned the water on.
Oh, the water. Yeah.
Why, that ain't hardly enough to get you wet. Turn it on full. Ah. Ain't that better?
Yeah.
You two kids, hurry up. Breakfast's ready.
Okay, Dad.
Is he gone?
Yeah, he's gone.
Good. Very funny.
Mr. James Manning III. What are you going to do?
You'll
What are you
find
going to
out.
do? Jimmy! Don't! Jimmy! Let me go! Jimmy! Oh, Jimmy, let me go! Let me out! Let me out, Jimmy! No! Jimmy!
Well, my old friend's bright and early.
The name is Hurley, as you well know. This is no time to be facetious with Mr. Hurley. Mr. Hurley's expense. We've been expecting you.
Oh, so my aunt was here.
Bright and early. She's very firm in her attitude, my boy, and very shocked at the situation you got yourself into.
She says.
Unless you divorce this nightclub entertainer...
And her father?
She'll cut you off without a dime.
You know, I've always wondered where that phrase originated. Why not without a nickel? Yeah, well, I'm not concerned about that. I am concerned about the mess that I'm in. Hang on to your seats, gentlemen. See, I can't get a divorce because I'm not married.
But that's scandal.
Scandal?
Your aunt.
Oh, forget my aunt and suggest something. What about all those books up there? There must be an answer in one of them. You know, somebody versus somebody.
My dear boy, you can't get a divorce without first being married.
They won't let you.
Wait a minute. Suppose we got married quietly now. Nobody noticed the difference in dates.
With all the publicity your secret marriage received, you couldn't go to the smallest hamlet without being recognized.
Right is right.
And what'll I do?
Keep things as quiet as you can for the time being, and try to keep your name out of the papers for a while.
We'll rack our brains. Maybe we can set a precedent.
Like the case of Jones versus Davis.
Oh, boy, what we did to Davis.
Davis was our client.
Oh, yes. Poor Davis.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, Michael.
Mr. Manning's expecting you. Your hat, sir?
Allow me. Thank you.
My boy!
We have arrived, I know.
These are my attorneys, Mr. Bright and Mr. Hurley. Gentlemen, this is Miss Dobson, the young lady who wants to marry me, so she can divorce me.
How do you do?
And see that you don't call them Bright and Early, because Mr. Hurley doesn't like it.
I had no intention of calling Mr. Early.
Hurley?
Hurley.
Early. Now we can start all over again.
Oh, you're impossible.
Spoken like a true wife.
I have an idea.
A brainstorm.
If it works, you'll be free in no time.
Well, sit down. Tell me all about it.
It's all very simple.
All you got to do is find a state, city, or town having a major catastrophe, such as a flood, an earthquake, or a forest fire.
You see, and then...
And in the excitement, you can get married and leave town without anybody paying the slightest attention to anything so trivial as a marriage.
That sounds pretty good.
That's just fine. All we have to do is call a few cities and ask them when they're expecting their next earthquake.
Oh, don't be funny. It's a great idea.
Mm-hmm. If we don't get drowned in a flood or roasted in a forest fire.
I want these papers from all over the country.
Let's start looking now.
Good.
Astronomer discovers new planet.
Too far.
Oil well burns in Oklahoma.
Smelly. How's this? Bridge span collapses in Portland.
Not big enough, not big enough. We need a major catastrophe.
I've got it. Another Florida hurricane. Listen to this.
Florida hit by a hurricane. Train and plane service tied up. A hurricane of cyclonic proportions ripped through the city of Miami, Florida, leaving havoc and ruin in its path. Perfect.
Now, wait a minute. How do we get to a place with transportation tied up?
Paper says train and plane service only. You can drive.
Well, what do you say?
What am I going to tell my father?
Oh, that's easy. Tell him we're going on our honeymoon.
Well, I'm willing if you are.
Well, then it's a deal. We'll leave as soon as possible. We'll keep you informed by mail and let Aunt Matilda know what's going on.
And after you're married, we'll arrange a divorce.
Then you'll be free to marry again. This reminds me of the case of McInerney versus McInerney. Which one did we represent?
McInerney.
Oh, yes. What a case.
Just think, darling, we're on our honeymoon.
Oh, yes, dearest. The moment I've always dreamed about.
It certainly is romantic. Alone together, just you and I. Your father.
Always wanted to go to Florida, the vacation spot of America. Beautiful beaches, palm trees swaying in the gentle breezes.
Oh, yes. Sweep you right off your feet.
Why, Gloria, this reminds me of the time your mother and I went on our honeymoon. Of course, you'd scarcely remember it. You were so young at the time.
What? Gloria was with you on your honeymoon?
Oh, it was delayed. We didn't get around to it till about 5 years after we were married.
I'm certainly glad we didn't have to wait that long for our honeymoon.
Oh, darling. Oh, Father, isn't Jimmy wonderful?
Oh, he's a fine boy. I'm awful glad we married him.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Just three in the party? Yes, we'd like accommodations for the night. Yes, sir. Sign right here.
I'll take that, son. There you are.
Mr. and Mrs. James Manning and father.
That's me. I'm the father on my daughter's side.
Newlyweds? Then I guess you want separate accommodation.
Sure.
Oh, can't we all three have the same cabin?
Why, yes, only I thought you and your husband might want to be alone.
Why, of course they want to be alone.
I don't.
Why, baby?
Oh, yes, dear. Why?
Well, oh, honey, I haven't really been with my daddy since I left Vermont. And I've missed him so terribly.
Well, of course, dear, if you feel that way.
I do.
The lady's always right. Boys, take the luggage to cabin number 5 and put the car in the garage.
Yes, sir.
This is cabin 5, sleeps 4. 3 should be very comfortable in it.
Well, this is fun.
Well, that's a nifty. Here, boys, leave that black bag in here. The others go in there.
If your father wasn't alone, I could give you number 3, sleeps 2. You could be alone.
Say, boys, what's the average tip you fellas get?
The average, boss?
About $1. Oh.
Thank you, boss. Thank you. Boy, that's the first man that ever hit the average. That's the lick. That's the lick. Feels like a good bet.
If you want anything, just press the service button over there by the door. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
I'm pretty tired. I think I'll turn in.
Yeah, I'm a little tired myself. Come along, honey. Got a long day ahead of us tomorrow.
Good night, children.
Good night.
Good night, Pop.
Good night.
I could have murdered you out there.
Why? What did I do? I thought I played the loving husband to perfection.
Making me stand there and find excuses.
One excuse, my pet, and a pretty feeble one at that. Well, nice comfortable bed.
Good. Where are you going to sleep?
Stuck again.
What do you think you're doing?
Undressing?
Oh, no, my pet. You keep your clothes on.
But I won't be comfortable.
No, but I will.
Would you be too uncomfortable if I took off my shoes?
No, I think that's permissible.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
If anyone wants me, I'll be in the guest room.
Whoa. Come on out, you two. We're being serenaded.
Just a minute, Dad. Jimmy. I hate to disturb your rest.
My what?
Come on out, dear. We're being serenaded.
My excuse to get out of this bathtub.
What do we have to do, up here and take a bath?
Well, the least you could do is look a little happy about it. What'll Father think?
You know, I'm beginning to grow just a little bit weary of worrying about what your father's going to think.
This is for you and Mr. Manning. Just a little something to remember when you think back to your honeymoon.
Oh, that's very kind.
Thank you.
Binkity boom, Benji, 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 scooter. You're a pretty little tutti fruta. That body there.
That was very nice.
Yes, excellent. Glad you liked it. We do it for all the newlyweds, part of our service.
Well, that's fine. Now can we go back and go to sleep?
Why, yes, of course. Well, pleasant dreams. Good night. Good night.
Well, that serenade started just as I was getting good and asleep. I'm pretty comfortable. How's your bed?
Oh, nice and comfortable.
Good night, Daddy.
Good night.
Good night. What is it?
I want to talk to you.
Oh, all right. Come in.
Hey, how about letting me have the bed for a while? My back's broken.
I might have expected this.
A marriage is a 50-50 proposition. Share and share alike. I want my half of that bed.
All right. Take it. I'll take the bathtub.
You kids up yet?
Yes, Dad. Come on in.
Well, it's time we got started. We got a long day ahead of us. Where's Jimmy?
Jimmy? Oh, Jimmy. Oh, he's taking a shower.
Well, I'm going to hurry him up. It's getting late.
Pop.
Morning, son. Better hurry it up. We got a long ways to go today.
Okay, Pop.
We must be getting pretty close to Miami. We passed Tetonia a couple hours ago.
It looks like the hurricane didn't get this far.
This doesn't look like the main highway. We better ask somebody.
There's a farmer over there.
I'll go over and have a talk with him.
Hey there.
Oh. Howdy.
How do you do? Say, can you tell me where the hurricane is?
What hurricane?
Well, the big hurricane uprooted homes, destroyed buildings, caused tremendous damage. Only happened a couple of days ago.
Oh, you mean that little breeze we had? Blew down the barn, knocked down a couple of chicken coops.
Well, the paper said it caused millions of dollars in damage.
What paper said that?
Well, right here. Look at it.
That's a California paper.
Grandpa!
What is it, Sugar?
Grandpa, you better hurry. Betsy's awful sick.
Huh?
Grandpa, you better hurry. Betsy's awful sick.
Don't you worry, Sugar. She'll be all right.
What's the matter? Is your wife ill?
Oh, no. It's my mare, Betsy.
What's the cause? Well, it's a good thing I'm here. Where is it?
You a horse doctor?
The best in Vermont.
Come on this way. Hurry. Right in here. Now, you wait out here, Sugar.
What's the matter with the horse, honey?
She's going to have puppies.
Well, Betsy will be all right. You run along and play.
Well, it looks like we're stuck here for a couple of hours.
Did you find out what happened to the hurricane?
Yeah, there wasn't any.
Well, what'll we do? How are we going to get married?
I don't know. Ask me something easy.
History's been made today. That horse just had triplets.
Is that unusual?
Unusual? Why, it's a miracle. You know what this means?
You'll be the Dr. Defoe of the stable.
Hey, wait a minute. Where are you going?
I'm going to call the newspapers. This is the biggest thing that ever hit this town. Whoopee!
Well, come on, Father. You've done your part. Let's leave.
Not now, baby. You two go along on your honeymoon. I'll meet you back in New York.
Oh, you're not coming with us.
No, I'd like to, but I can't. A doctor's place is with his horse.
Hello, Susie. Is that you? Give me Judge Grayson right away. He did? Never mind that. Is it true? Holy pepper.
You mean it's true?
Sure it's true. The operator listened in. Judge been calling all over town. Start setting type. We're going to press, even if it ain't heard.
Jimmy. Jimmy, this is it.
This is what?
This is our hurricane.
Say, you're right. If a horse having triplets is so unusual, with all this excitement, we could be married right here and it would never get in the newspaper.
Of course.
Are you the justice of the peace? Yes. Come back again some other time.
But we want to get married.
Some other time, tomorrow.
You have a duty to perform.
Neglect of duty is a violation. Remember your oath? Yes, but you don't understand. Judge Grayson's mare just had triplets. It's the first time it ever happened in this state. Here. What's going on? I'll report it to the constable. Well, wait a minute. I'm the constable, too.
Well, if you don't marry, you'll have to lock yourself up for neglecting your duty.
It'll only take a minute.
Have you got the license? You bet. Right here. Lem, Minerva? Couple for a wedding. Witnesses. You take this woman for your lawful wedded wife? You take this man for your lawful wedded husband?
I do.
Thank you. And I pronounce you man and wife. $2. Sign them papers. Take one and leave one. Congratulations. Oh, and don't forget the witnesses.
Come in.
Hi. Gloria, I'd like to have a little talk with you.
Oh, yes, Jimmy.
Well, now that we're married, I mean really married,
Uh-huh.
we don't have to live a lie.
What are you trying to say, Jimmy?
Well, we can go ahead now and get our divorce. I have a ticket here for you for Reno and some money for expenses.
Oh, it's very kind of you to think of expenses. You think of everything, don't you?
Well, I want to be fair about it.
Did you happen to think that perhaps I don't want a divorce?
What?
Well, I don't.
But you promised.
Well, you promised to marry Luella, but you didn't. What do promises mean to you?
Oh, well, that's different. I had a reason. I wasn't in love with Luella. You have no reason. Oh. Oh, so that's it. Okay. How much?
How much? Do you think for 1 minute
Wait a minute. You don't have to put on an act for me. You deserve all you can get. After all, I interfered with your career and placed you in a very embarrassing position. Now, my aunt suggests $50,000. Of course, she doesn't understand you like I do, so I'll see that you get what you want.
I've got what I want.
What do you mean by that?
My career.
Well, your career won't be worth a dime after you divorce me.
I'm not divorcing you.
I didn't expect this of you. I really didn't. Before I get through, you'll be begging me for a divorce.
Would you mind leaving my apartment?
Your apartment.
Our apartment, if you want to be technical.
All right, you ask for it. You make one public appearance with my name and I'll...
Run home and tell Aunt Matilda?
That might be a very good idea.
I thought you'd like to know that you're a success before you even start. Reservations have been coming in so fast, we've had to set them aside for 3 weeks in advance.
Oh, that's wonderful. I'm terribly happy.
Well, good luck.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Manning.
Good evening.
I have a special table for you.
Thank you.
Don't worry about the empty tables. It's a little early yet. But every table in the place has been reserved.
Of course.
You better hurry. It's almost time for you to go home. Well, Daisy, how do I look? You'll keep them all looking, honey.
Society's favorite songstress, Mrs. Jimmy Manning.
You hold me in the still of the night and fold me in the thrill of the night. Soft guitars are strumming while your heart and mine are humming. I'll kiss you while I'm under your spell. I'll miss you when you whisper farewell, but the song will remain till the moment I see you again. I'll remember the haunting refrain of the rumba. The rumba. I kiss you while I'm under your spell. I'll miss you when you whisper farewell, but the song will remain till the moment I see you again. I remember the haunting refrain of the rumba.
With you.
You did this to me.
Oh, please don't stop. I was just telling my friend here what a lovely voice you have.
You won't get away with this.
Incidentally, she agreed.
Wasn't that a wonderful surprise? Mr. Manning bought out the entire place for tonight.
You knew about this?
Why, of course. Mr. Manning explained everything to me. He wanted you all to himself tonight. Now, it's perfectly all right. Go ahead. Sing to him.
Well, don't you want to sing to me?
I'd love to.
Good, because I'm going to be your steadiest customer for the next 3 weeks.
I'm afraid you'll have a little difficulty getting reservations. You see, the entire club's been sold out for the next 3 weeks.
I know. I bought it.
You bought it? Does Blakely know about that? Oh, please, you've got to cancel your reservations.
I will, the minute you cancel your contract.
Oh, if only I were a man. If only you were.
Jimmy Manning goes to Reno for a divorce. Their great love has ripened into a beautiful hatred. You're a very lucky boy, James. I never thought you'd get out of this one.
I'm not out of it yet.
What do you mean? She's gone, isn't she?
Yeah. And so am I.
How much did it cost to get rid of her?
Nothing.
Nothing. How did you manage it?
I didn't. I didn't get rid of her. She got rid of me.
What? You mean she left you?
Flat.
Why, the very idea, the nerve of her. A horse doctor's daughter leaving a Manning.
Manning, that's all I've ever heard. Listen, Aunt Matilda, you've been backseat driving my life ever since I can remember, and from now on, I'm going to do the driving.
Well, what are you standing there for? Why don't you do something? Go get her, bring her back.
Aunt Matilda. Hey, you're an ace.
I guess I have made an ace of myself.
Mrs. Manning? Mrs. Manning?
Yes, what is it?
Telegram.
All right, hand it to me.
I can't. I gotta sing it. My body lies close to the ocean. The drumbeats of fortune have rolled. Come back or I'll jump in the ocean. You don't know how quick I catch cold. Signed, your husband.
Stop it. You're disturbing these people.
Any answer?
Yes.
What?
No.
It's a living.
What'd you say?
No.
No, huh?
Don't give up too easy, son.
Here, try this one.
And don't forget the gestures.
Mrs. Manning,
What?
singing telegram. Please dream of Jimmy with the dark brown hair. I'll dream of you and see you everywhere. If you don't dream of Jimmy soon, I say, my dark brown hair will quickly turn to gray.
It can fall out for all I care.
Don't think it ain't. Signed, Jimmy. Any answer?
Yes.
What is it?
No.
She said no. No soap. You writing one?
No, I'm figuring out traveling time. Look.
Never mind about your travel time.
Here, give her a duet.
And put some harmony in it. This'll get her.
Mrs. Manning. What again?
Can't you take no for an answer?
If you sing again, I'll scream. You scream, I'll commit murder.
I won't take no for an answer. A negative phrase is out. I won't take no for an answer, no matter how loud you shout. I'm a persistent romancer, and darling, I'm standing pat. I won't take no for an answer. Now what do you say to that?
No. Stop it. Do you hear me? The answer is no.
Son, we've been wasting our time. Come on.
She said no.
Lawyer. Gloria?
Father, how did you get here?
We chartered a plane.
We?
Young lady, you're going back to your husband.
I am not.
Oh, Gloria, you shouldn't talk like that to your father. After all, he raised you from a little child. You should show him some respect and do as he says.
We Dobsons are thoroughbreds, and we start a race, we finish it.
I don't care what you say. I'm not going back to that curio collector. Oh, don't you love him? No. Then you're perfectly right. Don't go back to me if you don't love him.
What do you know about love?
I know when it's missing.
Oh, she loves me, all right. She's just too stubborn to admit it. Please come back, Gloria.
And disappoint bright and early? I couldn't do it.
I'll throw them out. I'll even buy you a nightclub if you want me to. I'll do anything.
You mean you really love me?
After all we've been through, she wants to know if he loves her.
Well, ain't that just like a woman? Stubborn as a mule.
Oh, thank heaven.
Maybe now we can get some sleep.
Well, here you are, number 5, sleeps 4. 3 should be very comfortable in it.
Oh, this is fine.
Ah, there's the old lift, eh?
If your father wasn't alone, I'd still like to give you number 3. Sleep 2. Be alone. Say, boys, how are things?
Just the average, boss.
Average? Thank you again, boss.
Ain't nobody never gonna hit this average.
If you want anything, just press the service button over there by the door. Good night.
Good night. Well, I'm pretty tired. I think I'll turn in.
Well,
I'm a little sleepy. I'm a little sleepy, too. Good night, Dad.
Good night. Good night.
Good night, Pop.
Bingy, 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 bingy scooter.
Come in.
We're being serenaded again.
Oh, isn't that thoughtful of them?
Where's Jimmy?
He's showering.
Parisi, tell me your fortune.
Come on out, son. What is this? You're always taking a shower.
Yeah, but this one's different.
Huh?
She was Mrs. Parkington. She was Mrs. Miniver. And she is Greer Gsrson.
Next time I talk to a young lady about archery, I won't be so patronizing. Yes. Thank you for the lesson.
Thank you for taking it so well. Most men would have been offended, and rightly.
Would you mind telling me, Miss Bennet, why you are so determined to offend me?
Is that possible, Mr. Darcy? I thought you were invulnerable. You always look so impassive.
And here's her food formula and instructions for everything.
Goodbye, darling.
Why, Mrs. Gladney, you're crying.
I work like fury to get them adopted, and then cry like a fool when they go.
This element of ours obviously has a terrific power. Power enough to affect healthy tissue like mine. Power enough to destroy tissue. Pierre, if it has this power, why hasn't it also the power to destroy unhealthy tissue?
All you do is pause in the doorway, catch Mother's eye, and say, "Dinner's served, ma'am," that's all. See?
Dinner is served.
Dinner is served.
Oh, now, sir, couldn't you do it? Could you not just whisper it to your mother yourself?
Oh, my brother Willie would never forgive me, Mary.
Merry Christmas, Granny.
Merry Christmas, Granny.
Sorry to keep you waiting, but I had a little argument with Mattie. She didn't want me to use so much rouge.
But what did you do? A woman you're driving me crazy. Didn't he have a gun?
We already had a gun.
Well?
I just took it away from him and called the police.
Oh, you just took it to the police and... Oh, just like that. And then I suppose you gave him tea.
Milk.
Milk.
Ben!
Oh, come in, that's all right.
What did you Dad?
How do you say thank you for moments like that? Well, let's try. Please welcome Greer Gsrson. Oh, boy. Got a lot of fans.
Oh, lovely. Nice to down here.
Please,
There's nowhere else to sit. The roses have a table.
Oh,
How
boy.
nice to see you all. I didn't know you were going to be here. I thought it was just, you know, 2 or 3 people gathered round.
Didn't you bring them with you?
Well, no, I think you slipped them tickets or something like that.
Oh, well, we
You
didn't have to
coaxed them
slip
in.
them tickets or coax them today. What goes through your mind when you see clips, moments from some of those films that you've done?
Oh, I loved all the pictures so much and the people who were in them with me. They're very, very happy memories, and I think I was very, very lucky to have so many gorgeous stories and so many beautiful actors and people to work with me.
I don't know how many. Perhaps, I'm sure you would know how many films you have done.
Well, I don't think I know, but somebody said that I'd done 25 in 27 years. I'm sure I didn't do as many as that.
Yeah.
Well, maybe I did some, you know, small guest appearances or something like that.
You've been, well, I guess, with the exception of coming back to play Eleanor Roosevelt in the, what, early 60s in
think
Sunrise
so.
at Campobello, you've been living apart from Hollywood in Dallas and in Pecos, New Mexico.
Pecos, New Mexico.
Did you leave Hollywood under happy circumstances?
Oh,
or...
the happiest, yes.
Yeah, what were
A
they?
crazy Texan crashed into my life like a 10-ton truck.
Buddy
Buddy
Fogelson.
Fogelson, Buddy, and swept me off.
What is he, a wildcat, or what does he do?
He's a wildcatter. You're right. He's a member of that small, exclusive group, invitation only, by invitation, the All-American Wildcatters. They are independent explorers and, hopefully, producers of fossil fuels. That's oil and gas and other minerals, too.
Mm-hmm.
He loves the secrets of Mother Earth, and he works hard at it. And he's still running his business. He should have cashed in his chips 20 years ago, and we should be lying on the decks of cruise ships, you know, taking it easy. But we're both workers, I think, and we go to the office when we're in Dallas, Monday to Friday, every day. I think he enjoys that midday lunch at the Dallas Club with his cronies.
Perhaps. You once said that you were the world's poorest dresser.
Oh, that's because I've hurled myself from Dallas to Los Angeles, to the desert, to the ranch at Pecos, so I never have the other shoe. You know how it is, ladies. You pack and pack, and then the shoe that you really need, oh, my goodness, I left those shoes in Los Angeles.
Was there ever a time before you left Hollywood that you wanted to kind of break out of the mold that MGM had created for you?
Oh, yes, yes. I had played a lot of villainesses on stage in London, and they're much easier to play. They're much more effective dramatically. And I found myself with the duty of interpreting noble, or at least decent, kind, high-principled ladies. It's normal, ordinary, decent people. And that's very hard to dramatize, you know. It's much easier to play villains.
And I suppose there was no argument with MGM. You just continued
Well, I
to
did
play
say,
these.
for instance, I wanted to play Streetcar Named Desire. I would love to have done that.
yes.
And Mr. Mayor simply said, you tell her I would rather see her break her leg than play that part.
Oh, my
There you are.
Well, I want you to take a look at a publicity photo. Take a look at this. Aha.
Oh, nice. Oh,
Oh. Do you think Mr. Mayor had seen that?
I'm sure he won't. I did the craziest things in that picture. I played with some acrobats, and in 5 afternoons of rehearsal, I became an instant acrobat. And I learned to walk 5 up, which is pretty good, on the shoulders, on the shoulders, on the shoulders, on the
No
shoulders.
kidding.
I was top mounter on a squash pyramid, and I don't see how any woman could ask for more.
Well, we're going to ask for more because...
This is a relic from those days, by the way.
What is that you got around your neck?
It's a St. Genesius medal. Mr. Mayor was told that his star was wobbling about on a 30-foot set tower or something and standing on the backs of a lot of acrobats, and it was very perilous. So why didn't the double do it? Well, no double wanted to do it. Even Esther Williams' diving double said, no, I'm not going to do it. So I did it myself. Anyhow, he hurried down. He happened to have 2 visitors in his office, 2 priests, monsignors, and they came down too.
So I addressed myself to one of the gentlemen of the church, and I said, Monseigneur, I'm a simple Presbyterian, but would you please tell me what saint is the patron saint of actors and acrobats and tumblers, that I could say a prayer for safety, that I will survive this crazy caper? And he said, St. Genesius is the one. So this is a St. Genesius medal, the first one that was made in Hollywood and in Beverly Hills. And may I say, he is the patron saint not only of actors, acrobats, and tumblers, but also of Beverly Hills jewelers.
Yes, right. We're going to take a short break. I'm back with our woman of the hour, Greer Gsrson. You mentioned Walter Pidgeon, his picture's up here behind us. You worked, what, 8 times with him?
Well, I think we call it 7.5, because one of the pictures, I don't know, it kind of petered out. It was not very successful, so we called it half a picture. Yes, I suppose 8 times.
What was the magic between you two?
Well, we just got on wonderfully well. It was a great friendship.
Were you off the stage as well?
Oh, yes. Yes, Mr. and Mrs. Pidgeon were good friends of Mr. and Mrs. Fogelson later on. Yeah. Well, actually, he kept urging me to marry Buddy. He was pleading Buddy's suit. He said, why don't you marry the guy? What are you waiting for? He's a hell of a nice fellow. Which is quite true, but I, didn't want to fall in his lap right away. So I was being a little hard to get at that time.
I don't mean to be too personal, but if Mr. Pidgeon had not been married, would that have been a possibility?
I don't know, really.
You don't know?
I never, quite honestly, I never thought of him romantically.
No. Oh, I guess, well, he was married and you were
He was married.
working.
And, we were working. And as you know, working together is not necessarily very romantic, even if the script is romantic. The circumstances of working together for long hours on the set, 42 technicians concentrated on it. It was a wonderful friendship. He was like a big brother. He would kid me, and he was a dreadful tease. He'd tell me funny stories and terrible limericks just before I had to do a serious scene.
Well, it must have worked.
Well,
there was that extra sparkle in every one of those scenes. So you married Buddy
Fogelson.
And
Fogelson. It's a Finnish name. His father's from Finland.
And you went to Dallas, but I'm kind of interested in this ranch. It's down in New Mexico. This is a big place.
That's God's country.
We've got some film of God's country here.
It's a fair spread.
Describe it for us.
Well, it's up in the mountains, some 30 miles southeast of Santa Fe. It's between Taos, Santa Fe, and Las Vegas, New Mexico. And it's wonderful country, 7,300 feet up, pines, piñons. We raise prize Santa Gertrudis cattle, never send them to meat market. We never put the wheels under them. This is the kind that are sold for breeding to improve the quality of the farmer's stock. Mm-hmm. And gentle, enormous beasts with great eyes, and they have babysitting arrangements and the nicest social life. They're wonderful animals, very gentle. Our bull weighs